Hey Hazel, today we're diving into a fascinating topic, how to improve your memory. It's something everyone wants to get better at, especially when learning a new language or tackling everyday tasks.
That's right, Alex. Memory plays a huge role in how we learn and retain information. Whether it's remembering new vocabulary, facts, or even people's names, having a good memory can make life so much easier.
Absolutely. And here's the good news. Memory is not fixed. You can train your brain to remember more and remember better. It's just like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets.
I love that comparison. There's a famous story about a man named John who struggled with memory problems. He used to forget where he put his keys, missed appointments, and even had a hard time remembering names. But instead of just accepting it, he decided to train his brain. Through simple daily exercises, he improved his memory drastically.
That's inspiring. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners can relate to John's situation. Improving memory doesn't require hours of effort. It's about forming habits that stick. Like John, anyone can see real improvements by following simple techniques.
Exactly, Alex. Let's go over some practical ways our listeners can start improving their memory today. One of the first things John did was visualization. He began associating words or items with images. For example, if he needed to remember someone's name, he'd picture something that connects with that name, like picturing an apple for someone named Adam.
Visualization is powerful because it engages more parts of the brain. When you create a picture in your mind, you're using both your visual and verbal memory. Another technique John used was chunking, breaking down large pieces of information into smaller, more manageable chunks. Instead of trying to remember a long list of numbers or words, he grouped them into smaller sets.
Yes, chunking is so useful. For example, when you're trying to remember a phone number, instead of memorizing all 10 digits, you break it down into groups, like 3 digits, then 4 digits. It's easier for your brain to handle.
Right. Another method is the association technique. John started linking new information to things he already knew. Let's say you're learning a new word in English, like meticulous. You could associate it with something or someone who is very detail-oriented, like a watchmaker. That way, when you think of the word, you also think of that association.
That's such a helpful tip. And don't forget about repetition. The more you repeat something, the more likely it is to stick in your memory. John would review things he learned several times throughout the day. Instead of cramming, he would space out his repetitions, reviewing new information after a few hours, then the next day, and so on.
Spaced repetition is a great tool for building long-term memory. In fact, language learners use this all the time to memorize vocabulary. Instead of trying to learn 50 words in one sitting, you review 10 words each day for a week. This makes it much easier to retain new information over time.
Absolutely. And another key factor in memory improvement is sleep. Research shows that a good night's sleep helps solidify memories. John started prioritizing his sleep, and it made a huge difference. After all, while we sleep, our brain processes and stores the information we took in during the day.
That's so true. Sleep is crucial, not just for memory, but for overall brain function. Without enough rest, it's harder to focus, learn, and recall information. Speaking of which, exercise also plays an important role. John started going for daily walks, and that boosted his memory too. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, which helps with cognitive function.
Yes, physical activity doesn't just benefit the body, but the mind as well. Even light exercise like walking or yoga can improve brain health. Another helpful method John used was mindfulness. He practiced meditation to reduce stress, and this helped him stay focused and calm, which in turn improved his memory.
Meditation is great for sharpening focus. It's easy to get distracted in today's world with all the technology around us. But taking even 5 minutes a day to meditate can make a big difference. It trains your brain to be more present and aware, which helps with recalling information.
Exactly. And lastly, John focused on nutrition. He started eating foods rich in omega-3s, like fish and walnuts, which are known to improve brain health. He also made sure to stay hydrated because dehydration can lead to memory issues.
Great point, Hazel. Our diet plays a significant role in brain function. Eating foods high in antioxidants, healthy fats, and vitamins can really boost memory. And just like with exercise, the changes don't have to be drastic. Small improvements in diet can make a big impact.
So true. Now, let's take a moment to explain some of the difficult words we used today. The first word we used was visualization. This means creating a picture in your mind to help remember something. For example, John used visualization to remember names by linking them to objects he could picture.
The next word is chunking. This is when you break down large pieces of information into smaller, easier parts. Like splitting a phone number into groups to remember it more easily.
We also mentioned association. This means connecting new information to something you already know, which makes it easier to remember. For example, associating a new word with a person or an object.
Another word is repetition. Repetition means reviewing something over and over again to help it stick in your memory. Like reviewing vocabulary multiple times until you remember it.
We talked about mindfulness too. This is the practice of being aware and focused on the present moment. Mindfulness helps improve concentration and memory.
Lastly, we used cognitive. This refers to mental processes like thinking, remembering, and learning. For example, exercise helps improve cognitive function.
Now, let's move on to some common questions about memory improvement. I'll ask, and you can answer, Alex. First question: how long does it take to see improvements in memory?
It depends on the person and the techniques they use, but with consistent practice, you can start seeing improvements within a few weeks. Just like any other skill, the key is consistency.
What if I have trouble remembering things even with practice?
Don't worry if it takes time. It's normal to struggle at first. Keep using techniques like visualization, repetition, and association. If you stay patient, you'll improve over time.
Should I avoid multitasking if I want to improve my memory?
Yes, multitasking can actually harm your memory. It's better to focus on one task at a time, which helps your brain absorb and remember information more effectively.
Great. Any last thoughts for our listeners, Alex?
Just this. Memory improvement is a process. Stay patient, use the techniques we talked about, and don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Your brain is capable of amazing things with the right training.
Well said, Alex. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Keep practicing, and soon enough, you'll see your memory getting stronger.
See you next time.